Welcome to the Dartmouth Curling Club. Bell 5 TV1 proud to present its continuing coverage of Nova Scotia curling. And there it is. That's what's up for grabs here in this one. A chance to go represent Nova Scotia at the Scotties. It's Team MacDiarmid, Team Arsenault, here at the 2018 Nova Scotia Scotties. And there is a shot of the beautiful trophy that will be going to one of these two teams. At least say good afternoon. Hi everyone, Dan Hobson alongside John Seitman. Delighted to have you here. And John, let's talk about it here. Of course, we're seeing a team that had a very good season in Team MacDiarmid and a team that had a very good run here at the Nova Scotia Scotties. Team Arsenault, and of course, I can't really think of a better way to wrap up, of course, the provincial championships. Two best teams, of course, going at it here, both finishing 1 and 2 in the standings as we are underway here.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be a really good event here with the final. Marianne has been playing really well all week, and of course, Kristen, though finishing number 2, has had a great year on tour. Should be a good final here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon at the Dartmouth Curling Club. Thanks for having me here, Dan. It should be a good one.
Okay, so let's meet the participants in this one as we have the first throw on its way. Of course, Arsenault has the hammer here in the first, throwing the blue stones. And there is Jennifer Crouse, the lead. The second is Jennifer Baxter. Third, Christina Black. And, of course, Marianne Arsenault. And their coach is Peter Corkum. And their fifth, Carol McLean. And they are out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. Nose hit there for Crouse to start things off.
So, again, it seems like it's starting to be a pretty straightforward start to this game. Just really in-and-out style play, stuff that we've seen pretty commonly throughout this tournament, especially with the women's side of the event. They've been keeping with this very straightforward style in the first end, trying to keep the hammer in the even ends and not have to be forced to that single point.
This is the second throw from Julia Coulter. She is the lead. The second is Liz Woodworth. The third, Marie Christensen. And they're skipped by Kristen MacDiarmid, coached by Danny Christensen. And they are out of the Halifax Curling Club. And, of course, also their fifth member is Kelly Backman. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a quiet start here. So
again, both teams not really having to take any risks early. It's a very long game, as our viewers are familiar with. 10 ends of play, 38 minutes of thinking time for each team, and if it's all tied up after that, we would go another end to decide the Scotties champion. No need to take risks this early in the matchup. Teams are going to want to keep the mistakes to a minimum, because in a championship final, those little mistakes can be what could cost you the trip to Penticton.
Here is the second here on this MacDiarmid team, Liz Woodworth. The MacDiarmid team, of course, got off to a great start, 5-0 in the championships, and then their 6th and 7th draws in this championship did not go the way they liked. They came out on the losing end, and really, they could have been easily in first place and punched their ticket into the final. But, of course, they sort of bounced back, had a really good game, and really forced the issue against Jill Brothers. It was a really good game, and we had a chance to call that one. So, this is going to be a good matchup. And anybody that's a fan of curling, which they are going to enjoy watching this one, because if the MacDiarmid brothers game, of course, is going any indication of how this one's going to go, it's going to be a beautiful afternoon for curling here on Bell 5 TV1.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Kristen had an extremely good game, having been able to pick up a win last night over Jill Brothers, the former champion. She's coming off a lot of momentum, having played really well last night. The only challenge for Marianne is the fact that she's coming off having not played a game really here since Friday at the end of the round robin, having had the bye to this final after finishing the #1 seed. Still, you can't doubt the record of having 6 straight wins. Both teams still playing extremely well, even with those 2 losses for MacDiarmid at the end of the round robin.
Yeah, you mentioned it as we take a look here. at the Marianne Arsenault team out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. Started off a 5-4 loss to McDiarmid and ran the table the rest of the way with wins over McAvoy, Breen, Jones, Brothers, Latisseur, Pinckney. And as a result of that big run, didn't even have to play tomorrow, had a little bit of a day, didn't even have to play yesterday, and of course able to be well rested here for this afternoon final.
And of course, we do say there that though they didn't have a game yesterday, they were here. They did get the opportunity to have a practice to prepare themselves for this game, and also be able to be prepared with the rock selection for the match, as now you do get to pick from all 4 sheets to have the best rocks that you're confident with for the final.
Marie Christensen, a hit and a slight roll. And as you could hear, things may be a little bit, our microphones here will be picking up stuff because we're in with the audience, so you may be hearing some sounds, background sounds, and I guess you really couldn't ask for it to be any other way, being with the crowd, so that you know basically the reaction that we feel is what we're going to feel, because we're right there, square in the middle of it.
And of course, both of these teams have so many Dartmouth connections, having had many of these players from Team MacDiarmid have curled out of Dartmouth before, as well. Of course, Team Arsenault calling the Dartmouth Curling Club home. There's a lot of support for both teams here from both the membership and from the curling community.
Black heavy there.
So that does give a little bit of an opportunity. The stone at the edge is not in play, so it gives the opportunity for Marie to be able to put one in a new spot, sort of get a feel for where the areas of the ice are moving, a little bit different than what you'd probably see in a practice situation.
Yeah, McDiarmid began these championships. We talked about the strong start. Was hoping to go directly to the final, and we said about the 5-0 record, and then losses to Breen and Brothers in draws 6 and 7 dropped her to 2nd place. But a very good game against Brothers as she bounced back, and they are a calm, cool team, as you're going to see if you haven't been with us a lot throughout the week. You know, pretty well, a lot of poker faces on that young team, and you know, as I say, this should be a dandy of a matchup for sure, and I'm not sure who you'd have to really think is the favorite. I think it's pretty well 50-50 if the toss-up, as we said. Great season versus great round of championships, and basically everybody knows Marianne Arsenault's resume and how strong she's been and what she has done in the past. But you can't really underestimate this MacDiarmid team, because they have come to play, and they've come to play since when they threw their first rock in the start of the season. Yeah,
MacDiarmid has had great wins on tour. Of course, if I remember correctly, she was number 2 in the rankings in the province, with some big tournament victories, especially the OVCA Women's Fall Classic Championship, defeating World Junior Champion Isabella Rana. Team MacDiarmid is coming in extremely confident, but again, as well, they have to deal with the experience and championship level play that Team Arsenault has had over the past few years, and especially here in this tournament, if they're going to get the win.
Kristen MacDiarmid is wearing the skip rocks here in end number 1.
So just getting a hit, roll over to the other side. They want to stick it into the 12-foot, make it a little bit of a challenging area for Marianne on her first.
Getting them to go to play out on the outside of the wings, and sometimes with the curling ice, sometimes can run a little bit straighter here. So that was pretty well the plan, to say, well, if you're going to get your plank, we're going to make you work hard for it and make it hard for you to stick around, because if we exchange shot for shot, maybe this way that things are going to look like it's as we get to the finishing stages here of end number 1 of the Scotties final on Bell 5 TV 1.
So this rock is going to be coming pretty close to the wings, so they're going to really being a tough area to predict sometimes. So sweepers are going to want to watch this.
Watch it, they are. Slight brushing there from Baxter. Now she's off of it. And they do roll out to the side, so MacDiarmid has options here to place this other stone. This is, of course, her final here in end number 1. Looking like the blank is in play here for Arsenault, but of course Arsenault going to put it, or pardon me, MacDiarmid going to put it in a spot here to make it hard for that blank. As every curler does, John, pretty well a pre-shot routine, MacDiarmid does, so. As the final stone from Krista MacDiarmid out of the Halifax Curling Club. House is empty right now, but she's planning to try to sit there for 1.
Trying to come over pretty much down that similar side. It's going to really break off the center line. Just looks a little bit lighter than we thought. Does get to the top of the forefoot. Gives the opportunity for Marianne to play a pretty central line and be able to have a good chance at the blank.
Yep, pretty quiet in here in number 1. Of course, the opposite of what's behind us here is of course, some of the people here from the, of course, Team Murphy. Congratulations to him on winning the men's tankard, which we covered earlier this morning. Some of them still sticking around and sort of having some celebration. Final stone for Marianne Arsenault out of the Dartmouth Curling Club, looking to blank in number 1. Baxter going hard. And Kraus working hard there. She sweeps it out and makes sure it doesn't leave anything to chance as it goes out. So blank in 1. And if we had $1 for every time we said that, John, this week, we probably have, I don't know, $203 maybe. A lot of times we said that all week. So
and that's pretty much where you want to be there, because in this instance you really don't want to have to take a single point, especially with it being a championship final. You're going to see now as you advance on to the second end, where you're playing in the even ends now, there will be probably a few more rocks in play, and it will result in a bit more offense from both teams as Arsenault will try to get the multiple.
We talked about it earlier, but let's talk about the path here to the final for Christian MacDiarmid. There started off with a 5-4 win over Marianne Arsenault, and then a win over Colleen Jones, and of course the young up-and-coming team of Isabel Ladouceur, the youngest to ever qualify for the Scotties, a win over Julie McAvoy, a win over Colleen Pigney, and then had 2 losses to Breen and Brothers, but got the 7-5-4 win in the semifinals to punch her ticket into this one. So a good bounce back and basically shrugged those 2 losses and got a little bit of revenge. You know, it's hard really, especially because it was like the 7th draw was Friday night, so they'd have to come back and play Brothers again. So I mean, there was in that game, you could say that there was no secrets in that one when you had to play them the night before.
Yeah, and you really saw in the game last night, Kristen was really able to sort of regroup from that loss, understand that this is what happened that made the difference, and here's what I need to change in order to get a result that favors us in the semifinal. And obviously she was able to figure out the solution that she needed, because that's why she's here.
Why this comes down along its way, one of the other broadcasts, I said something about Christian Lynn's father, of course, Lynn, who we saw at the juniors and also curled for the Dalhousie Tigers at AUS last year. Might have said in the broadcast that he works here. He's just a volunteer, but spending a lot of time as almost as if he does work here. So just want to, make a correction. I was talking to him about it, but he's put in a long hours, and of course, congratulations to everybody involved here, as the volunteers and people here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. Fantastic event, and I mean, look around here. Yeah. That explains it all. Beautiful. Yeah, lots of people here.
They put
Fire marshal has to turn a blind eye sometimes because I don't know what the occupancy is, but
yeah, they put on a really good. They put on a really good show all week with some outstanding service to the sport of curling. It takes a lot of hard work to put these events on. There are many people who put in a lot of hours, whether it's been the ice making crew, the managers, umpires. The volunteer service has spent almost as much time here as the players out here on the ice. So glad to see that it's come to a great conclusion. It's been a great week of curling here in Dartmouth.
Scooping more for line. Looking forward to curl. They get a piece of the blue. But the yellow will disappear.
Probably wanted to get a little bit of a thicker portion of that there. It would have given the opportunity to roll behind. Now with this, it gives the opportunity for the Team Arsenault to try to probably, it looks like they're running that and try to double them both out.
Black already on it as soon as it comes out of Baxter's hand. Gross with the head up.
Okay, gets the roll over into the 12-foot. Wanting it to come back a little bit.
It won't have enough to make that extra turn to come back, so as you see, it's outside.
Yeah, just had that extra little bit of rotation, which caused it to go out. Gives an opportunity now for Kristen to defend a little bit with that stone at the 8-foot. She'll probably set up a nice guard here to try to block the result.
Talked about the good crowd up here. Well, how about down there? Pretty good view of that one.
I think I saw a few of the participants in this event actually in their front row. I think I saw Kim Kelly from Team Jones out in the front row watching this one, cheering on her former teammate.
Yeah, I did see her, of course, before we went on the air, and there she is in the background, of course. To the right of your screen.
Long-time teammate of Marianne Arsenault with the legendary Colleen Jones 4 that won 5 World Canadian titles together.
Yeah, and then the Pinty's Grand Slam of Curling, which was at the Rath Eastlink Community Center, the Credit Union Arena. When they had it, they had a teammate go down because of illness, so they had to call Kim Kelly in, and I'm sure it was probably a good fast trip to get up there to Truro to play in that night draw.
So Christina working on this one here, gets the hit, rolls, peers out of the house now. Yeah. So clean end here. Gives the opportunity for Marie to come around and bury one really nice into behind the guard.
Yeah, well, we think that maybe the draw number 1, where it went 5-4 in favor of MacDiarmid, would already tell you, of course, that it could be pretty well a low-scoring defensive game for both these teams.
And both of these two teams are really good at playing the defensive style game. So the only issue there with being two defensive style teams is that once one person makes the tiny bit of mistake, it's going to cause an opening that could lead to a big result for the other. So it will be something that we'll have to watch for as more rocks start to get into play.
Brakes put on, just shy of the button, but as you see, pretty well wide open.
So this gives the opportunity there for Christina to be able to play the hit and roll behind the guard and really set up well for a multiple if she can make this roll just right.
Gina Black was a little bit heavy on one of her shots in the last end. Of course, they ended up being a blank, so this time she did on little slight roll towards the center line, still 4-foot area. So now Arsenault lies 1 as we're in the late stages of end number 2.
Yeah, probably still open. Yeah, it's about 3/4 open, enough that you're going to probably see a down weight hit from Marie Christensen. If she's able to get to the inside of nose on the side with the guard, it would make it a little bit easier to get behind and put Marianne under pressure for a potential force.
Here is the aforementioned Mary Christensen out of the Halifax Curling Club. And you can hear them say, going hard, hard. There they go. That yellow one's popping up pretty quickly, and they are all over it. And the yellow one will push towards the side. So just like that, all of a sudden, maybe the 20-time Scotties representative here in Nova Scotia may be trying to get her deuce here in 2, as they were all over that one, and they were pretty well vocal once it left her hand, John.
Yes, now this gives the opportunity for Marianne. She's going to come in and try to split the house as far as she can. She could easily guard that, but given the fact that you put another one in here, you're able to force Kristen to make a choice as to which rock she's going to hit. She can't, and if you get the separation, you can't really get both.
Well, you said it. Of course, all of a sudden, one half missed shot here, or even a total missed shot there, can change the fortunes.
A little bit of that directional sweeping style there from Baxter and Kraus.
Yeah, they're trying to get it over. Now back to the normal style. Kraus on it.
Needs it to curl a little bit more here, or else it's going to force a double potential.
Oh, yeah,
okay, it does go high, so it's not
open.
double worthy. The question is now, it looks like if I were thinking in what Kristen's seeing there, she's probably going to try to play a hit and roll behind the guard. I think it appears. Yeah, that gives the ability that yours will be completely buried and will force Marianne to kind of think a little bit more about it, and it'll make it challenging for the single. Could potentially lead to a force.
So, of course, with the previous stone there from the MacDiarmid foursome hitting a little bit of the guard, the change of mindset for both these skips. We're on our way to a blank, but now things are picking up here in the late stages of end number 2. As the throw from MacDiarmid's on its way, and she's hollering the top of her lungs, and will roll out.
Unfortunate result there for Kristen. Now it pretty much gives the opportunity for Marianne to probably play that draw behind the guard. It seems like that's what she's going to be going for. Then it makes it a bit easier to protect and could lead a bit more likely to your multiple point end, which would really keep with the game plan that she came into this game with.
So there you see the one blue stone right now, of course, belongs to Arsenault. Now she may be setting herself up for a good chance here. And in number 2, as she froze the first of 2.
Sweeper's not touching this yet, so it needs to curl.
Yeah, right now they're just one of the there's security now. They get on the brush and starting to come over. There's the front end here. The two Jennifers, Crouse and Baxter, and stops there. 8-foot area line 2. Yeah. Almost pretty well right in line with each other. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a possibility that if she would consider it, she may try to almost play. She could play a flat double on it, which would really be a possibility. I think that's what Marie's trying to line up because it is there if you throw it hard enough. And as we've seen all week, Chris MacDiarmid, having played third for many years, she knows how to throw the big weight.
Well, she had a 3rd place finish at the Ladies Monktonian Invitational Spiel and Spitfire Arms Cash Spiel. Final stone here for the Kristen MacDiarmid team out of the Halifax Curling Club, and they're going hard, and you could hear them vocal already. One, and just got to touch that blue stone. So it will leave pretty well. A good portion of the 8 and the 4-foot there to get 2 here for Arsenault and in 2.
So it gives a bit of a tighter position for that draw to score the multiple point. It would have been nice to be able to get that double result, but I think she may have hit it a little bit too thick to get it.
She did get a good try on it. I mean,
it was a good attempt at it, but again, because of it being, it needed to be just a little bit thinner to get that extra movement to get the other out.
Hoping to get on the scoreboard here in number 2. She blanked the first. Final stone for Marianne Arsenault out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. Drawing for 2. Sunday afternoon from Dartmouth Curling Club.
Sweeper's working on this here. That it looks fairly light, so Christina Black trying to come in to help it out.
Yeah, they got to count that yellow one. Are they going to get there? Are they going to get enough of it?
Oh, just enough.
Just enough. And you can see the high fives and the pats on the back as they got together. Black came out relieved, one of the sweepers, and they just got it there for their deuce and in number 2. So MacDiarmid will have a hammer for the first time in this game, throwing the yellow stones, trailing 2-0.
And that was one of those ones where it really shows the strong front end skill of Team Marianne Arsenault, where they were able to sweep that just enough to be able to get it there and drag it a lot farther than probably many average club level curlers would probably be able to. It shows their high level of experience and why they are the champion team that they are. So MacDiarmid's going to try to recover here and get her multiple back.
So, of course, we're going to meet the Team Arsenault here out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. And this is the 37-year-old lead, Jennifer Crouse, 2-time national Scotties appearances, 2-time national mixed appearances, works for Canada Life as a regional sales manager. Got to kind of like their approach here, the Marianne Arsenault team. They pretty well, once they get to the rink, they're all business, so they just get in time, just get changed, and then they're right out on the ice. It's eliminates anything from distractions. They're on a hot streak right now, and they don't want to ruin it. So.
Yeah, they pretty much have a really good routine going, and they have some good knowledge behind them with a coach, Peter Corkum, and a 5th player, Carol McLean, who are very experienced additions to this team. Peter, if I remember correctly, was coach for the Mark Dacey foursome when they won the Tim Hortons Brier, and has been coaching this team Arsenault for as long as I can remember. It's been a few years for sure, and they really were very precise with their rock selection for this final, picking some great stones from all three of the four sheets, and it's obviously paying off because they're seeming very confident in the early stages of this match.
So as you usually see, of course, first one goes into the house and it's ignored by Dermot as she needs stones to get some offense. So she throws up a guard, and now...
So it looks like this one's a little bit heavy.
Yeah,
they're just dusting it, so it's probably going to come deep.
Okay.
Question is how far deep.
Yeah, it's got to touch that one. And put one right on the lid and one on the edge of the front forefoot.
Okay, so it looks like they're going to try to play it. It looked like they were trying to freeze it to the corner of that stone of the team Arsenault at the top of the forefoot. It would really be a good result to place that just right to try to score your multiple.
Light brushing Woodworth Christensen here.
Don't want to move that top blue too much, so just trying to get the nice freeze here.
Now they're going even harder, trying to get as much as they can. Once again, Woodworth Christensen.
Okay, good result there. It is a little bit higher, but
didn't want to definitely, hit it too hard and bump it. So it's probably better light than too hard.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that now it forces Marianne to come and use that guard and try to remove it, because now it's not really helping her anymore. Now that the free guard zone is out, now that lead stones are complete.
And as you say, they'll get rid of that yellow handled stone belonging to MacDiarmid out, and the shooter goes out of play as well. So as you see, the house wide open with just those three rocks in play. At Liz Woodworth here as we're into second stones here in N3. And the brusher's going hard. Coulter, Christensen.
Yeah, Liz just playing a down weight hit here, trying to get the roll behind, but it will come
just a nose
to the nose. That does give the opportunity now. Marianne's probably going to call to try to roll away from that. Get some separation. It makes it challenging there, depending on where you place it, because there could be the potential to play an even better hit and roll inside of Kristen MacDiarmid, but challenging either way.
Here's Jennifer Baxter, 30-year-old, 10-time Scotties Provincials, 2 appearances at Scotties Nationals, winner of 1 provincial mixed championship, 2 mixed doubles provincial championships, 1 junior national appearance, and she, her occupation, Learning Center resource teacher at Elizabeth Sutherland School.
So here getting a little bit more defensive in style. Now that there's 2 rocks from Marianne Arsenault in play, you're going to see Liz Woodworth going to try to play the double. It does hit a little bit thick, but moves the back stone of Arsenault to the back of the 8.
Yeah, moves some shrapnel here in 3, pardon me. That cleans things up there along the center line area. Just joining us, you're watching the Nova Scotia Scotties final. Team MacDiarmid out of the Halifax Curling Club, Team Arsenault out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. My name is Dan Hobson alongside John Simon. our producer, Sean Senator, and the Bell 5 TV1 crew, delighted to be here. And of course, the hardware's in the building. Is it going to stay here in the Dartmouth Curling Club or go over across the bridge to the Halifax Curling Club? Right now, Arsenault leads 2-0 as we play in the later stages of end number 3.
So good result now that forces Kristen to try to think about how she's going to hit that. If she's able to get about a third to a solid half of it, it's enough that you can probably get contact with the back blue as well.
Marie Christensen, third rocks in 3. Light brushing here. Now Coulter, Woodworth coming together. They're going hard. You can hear them saying hard, 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 and they are going hard, 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 but they won't be able to get a piece of that one in the back as it blows by. So it's kind of, we're hoping maybe to get rid of some blue shrapnel towards the back, but they're unable to at that time. So this is Christina Black, the Cape Bretoner, 10-time provincial Scotties, 3 times provincial mixed champion, first silver medal at nationals, 2 CIS silver medals for the St. Mary's Huskies, and works at TD as a customer service manager, and removes the yellow. So Arsenault lying 2 without hammer in 3.
Yeah, if I remember my interesting combos between the teammates, Christina Black actually, if I remember correctly, played with Paul Fleming in the national mix at one point a few years back and did extremely well.
I went back to the hotel last night, and all I could seem to think of a story of, of Cape Breton and, of course, championships being here in Dartmouth. If I could just think that Jimmy Rake had actually filmed a video here in the Dartmouth area. Followed her around. That was a few years ago. Boy, it just seems like it was, just like yesterday, but it was a long time ago. Can't believe how fast the years are going by.
So now this gives the opportunity here for Marianne on this stone to try to roll behind the guard. By the guard, I mean the stone in the 12-foot, and then try to get a little bit of a tighter area for a result. If she can really force Kristen to take her single point, it would really be a good answer for her.
Of course, Reichett's also got a really good song, We'll Carry On. Have you ever heard that one before?
No, I don't think so.
I gotta go find it. It's a nice song. And of course, it could also be used as a good pick-me-up song if, after a tough loss or something. So, from High Water, We'll Carry On from Jimmy Rankin as we give some Cape Breton shout-outs here in tribute to Christina Black as we're into Marianne Arsenault. And, well, sometimes I have to take a deep breath to try to get her resume out. So here we go. 49-year-old, 20th Scotties Provincials, 3rd as a skip, 5-time Canadian champion, 2 world championships, competed in national mixed doubles, a registered massage therapist, mother of 1 perfect daughter. I was thinking the other day when I seen some of these registered massage therapists, it almost made me beg the question, if you were a massage therapist, would you massage yourself?
Well, it's actually funny. There's a few ones on tour that are massage therapists and physiotherapists. Have really been the ones that everybody's like to become friends with on tour. And one of the most famous ones being Pat Simmons, who has been very good at helping people out when there's been injuries at events and everything, sharing his knowledge and skills. So now that this forces the hit here, you're going to see Marianne again try to go for the hit and roll, try to get behind, make it a little bit more challenging for Kristen to get that draw.
In moving along pretty quickly here as we're into end number 3. Good crowd on hand, as you see. So, of course, if you're still in the area, in the Dartmouth area or even Halifax area, hey, pop on by. A few chairs left out at ice level. Well, you could come upstairs and be close to our broadcast location. I just don't know how well you see. Is there sort of like 3 or 4 rows back full of people?
Yeah, it's great to see a lot of support here for the teams as they hope to earn that spot in Penticton.
Milestone for Arsenault here in 2 with Outhammer, Bango, and a little roll.
Good result there for Marianne. Now it forces Kristen to try to draw to the 8-foot for her single. She's going to need to try to force the issue with Marianne later in the end to try to get back the lead to tie it up. But as we know, it seems even the biggest of leads have not been safe at any of these events this year.
Yeah, it has just been crazy, especially like I've called a couple of teams, the Cardiac kids, that worked for Brothers. She had a tough, end in the draw format, but ended up getting into the tiebreaker and then beat Breen. As we see the final stone here by MacDiarmid here in number 3. And even on the men's side of things, Kevin Ouellette's foursome would get up 6, and they still would always try to find a way to win. It just didn't do it a lot. Of course, 2 and 5 is where they finished in the round robin.
So Sweeper just working on this one, ensuring that it gets to where it needs to go.
Oh yeah, they're confident in it. Single point for MacDiarmid and 1, so it makes it Marianne Arsenault 2, Christian MacDiarmid 1 as we head to end number 4. Arsenault gets the hammer back and will be throwing the blue stones.
And this next few ends are usually what I would probably call the most critical ends of a 10-end game of curling. It seems we saw it during the semifinals last night, where ends 4 through 7, the 2 ends before the break and the 2 ends after the break, if you're able to outscore your opponents here, this is what really has separated a lot of teams as to who gets the victory and who ends up on the wrong side of things at the end of the day. Kristen outscored Jill in ends 4 through 7 last night 4-2, and it got her to this final.
So let's meet this team MacDiarmid of the Halifax Curling Club. Their second year as a team, and this is Julia Coulter, 26 years of age, 13 years of curling experience, started at the age of 13. Accountant at CPA at Efficiency 1, 2015 Nova Scotia Mixed Doubles Champions, with her now husband Travis Coulter, 2011, 2010, and 2012 AUS and CIS Curling Championships. Won a bronze in 2011 and silver in 2010.
Yeah, it was probably a very busy week for the Coulters, of course. Unfortunately, Travis coming up just short with the Stuart Thompson ring after a heartbreaker of a loss to Mark Dacey last night in the semifinals. But now the opportunity for Julia to be able to compete in a final and have the chance to potentially go on to the Scotties in Penticton. It would be a good end to the week result.
That was an insane schedule for that Stuart Thompson team, who also curls out of this Dartmouth Curling Club. 4 games in about a 23-hour span. They played the 8 o'clock draw, draw number 7 on Friday, then had the tiebreaker in the morning, beat Chad Stevens, had the tiebreaker in the afternoon against Kendall Thompson. They won that, but when they ran into Mark Dacey, probably were getting a little bit tired. As I said, that was just 4 games in a 23-hour span, and Dacey came with the win. It was an insane schedule. I've never seen one at a curling event like that. Of course, I'm relatively new to calling curling, and I'm delighted to be here. Delighted to be with you, of course, but just I've never seen it, and I just knew it was going to be a tough task for them.
Yeah, for sure. It's a challenge for anybody with these long games. The stamina is what it can make it challenging. Being able to keep consistent throughout a full 10-inning game. it seems all 4 finalists here today have really shown their ability to remain consistent throughout the week, and that's why they're here.
Gross with lots of rotation on this stone. And picks out the yellow. The shooter also leaves the field of play, the rings, and out.
So that blue of Arsenault is pretty much behind cover. You're going to see Kristen's trying to freeze up onto that to force it that Marianne would only be able to take a single, and then it would make it easier to try to get back in the game by scoring a deuce. If you let Marianne score a multiple here, it would really make the ability to win the game a bit more difficult.
Here is Liz Woodworth, a 30-year-old, 18 years of curling experience, a digital designer, brave new world, and her highlight, 2007 provincial junior champion, along with her teammate Marie Christensen. Always important to keep that chemistry. If you've got something going good, to keep it.
And it's interesting to see some of these combos where you have former teammates curling together, and as well you've seen sometimes where a free agent has joined up with a team and has really given it something that maybe it didn't have originally and just fit into that puzzle. We saw it this morning with Paul Fleming, who had joined Team Murphy this year and has really made that team up to a whole new level, and that's why they're at Tim Hortons Briar now, representing Nova Scotia as the Deloitte Tankard champions.
Once again, Marianne Arsenault lying 2 here in 4. She has the hammer. We had a blank in the first 10. Arsenault got 2 in the second. MacDiarmid forced to a single in 3 as we are in end number 4.
Again, very important here to try to make this freeze. If they can do that, it would really shut down a lot of the scoring area and make it a little bit more difficult for Marianne to even try to score multiple. Needs to curl a little bit, though, to get there. It's really holding out.
Yeah, but you can see sort of coming in now. Christensen giving it the extra sweep. And we'll come to a rest in the back 8. Just barely nudging the 4-foot area in the back, but they had to, pretty well try to sweep, of course, to try to get it over to where they want. But they had went a little bit deeper than what they anticipated or what they wanted to do.
So you're going to see on this stone here from the, it's Christina there, so she'll try to go for the roll, hit and roll, make it a little bit more challenging on Marie with her stones.
Picks it out. Can the shooter stay? No, as it rolls out.
Okay, so that really does give the opportunity back for the Team MacDiarmid to be able to use the stone from Marie Christensen to try to potentially freeze again. It's a challenging area that they haven't really gotten as much of the feel for the way to get that freeze, because it seems that last one was a little bit extra enough to not allow the curl. They're using really wide ice compared to what we've seen throughout the rest of the week, so it must be something with the certain stones that they've used that have a little bit more curl.
Well, we talk about registered massage therapist. That is Marie Christensen, 29-year-old, 23 years of curling experience, 2016 provincial champion for Prince Edward Island, 2015 provincial mixed champion for Newfoundland Labrador. Gets a little bit of a hit and roll, as I'll continue on with her resume. 2010 provincial runner-up in Nova Scotia, and has also curled at the Atlantic University Sport U Sports back in 2009 and 2010 as a U Sports runner-up. Was back then, of course, it was known by CAS. And 2007-2009 provincial junior champion Nova Scotia as skip with Liz in 2007.
So here with the stone from Christina, she's going to try to go for the hit on the stone at the back of the 8-foot. It's really starting to curl now.
Baxter was on that broom and trying to get down and trying to keep the line, but ended up that blue one came up on them quicker, and they bump off of it, unable to remove that yellow stone in the back belonging to MacDiarmid. So a window of opportunity here for this MacDiarmid team into the Halifax Curling Club.
So now this does give the opportunity for Marie to get a little bit of a better road toward freezing behind the guard. She's going to play a little bit of a tighter line, just enough to get over.
Woodworth, slight brushing. Coulter there, cheer her on and give her more support, as I say jokingly, as that will start to come over. And will it get there to be the shot rock? Absolutely, so 1-3 MacDiarmid lies.
So we did talk a little bit about the interesting thing with some of these teams partnering up with each other and having different combinations. It's neat to see there that Marie Christensen from Team MacDiarmid at that 2010 provincial championship was actually a teammate with Jennifer Baxter on Marianne Arsenault's rink. While Christina Black was teammates with Liz Woodworth on Team Tanya Hilliard. So some very familiar names.
Oh, nice shot here. Yeah, both those yellows go by the wayside.
Really puts MacDiarmid under pressure now, losing her 2 stones in the house. Gives the opportunity for her to have to show. She's probably going to try to play the double here to try to get out of this end. Either that, or at least the best case scenario is at least try to roll behind the guard if she can't get the double. But I think that's what she's probably leaning toward, trying to remove both of those.
Skip rocks, hit number 4, Kristen MacDiarmid.
Sweeper's just dusting it here, just trying to be absolutely sure. So it does appear, though, they're trying to go for the hit. Question is, where does it go?
And they blow by that other blue stone that's in the top 4, and the yellow will come to a rest in 12. So back and forth we go in this one, pretty well as we expected, and low scoring as we expected to, as we were hit to the 4th, 2-1.
So Marianne's playing a little bit aggressive here, trying to get the draw behind the guard. If she's able to get it just perfect, it would set her up for a good multiple. But if she's the least bit outside on the curl, it could potentially leave an open hit, which could allow some contact for Kristen MacDiarmid to try to get out of the end.
The Jennifer Krause and Baxter had a brief conversation, as you saw there, with the skip, making sure that they're on the same wavelength. And of course, you see that she has a throwing broom and of course a sweeping broom, so she'll get her throwing one here and get ready to throw here at end number 4. Nothing yet from them. Now light brushing from Baxter. Gross gets in on the action.
A little bit heavier than I think that they'd hoped, so they're probably going to go for a plan B to go a little bit deep.
Woodworth right there, going to try to pounce on it and try to sweep it towards the back, and it will just touch the 12-foot area.
It does appear to be second shot, so it's going to force Kristen to think about it.
And thinking and talking, MacDiarmid with her 3rd. Marie Christensen.
Yeah, I think that she has the right call here of being able to play the down weight hit on the other side. If she can get it with just enough weight to try to flop over, it would really make it challenging for Marianne, as it would force her to go for a draw where she was a little bit heavy on. As some of our viewers may be a bit familiar with Marianne's style, she's very prone to playing the hit style game, having come from playing second stones for that legendary Colleen Jones foursome, winning many world championships together and Canadian championships together.
And
timeout
first
call.
timeout. Danny Christensen will make his way down, and
Peter
the fifth,
Corkum.
Yep, Peter Corkum and Carol McLean for the Marianne Arsenault team. Actually, it's got to be just Peter Corkum. Carol will sit down and take a little bit of a breather here. And so we're into a tight spot here in number 4, our first of 2 timeouts for the MacDiarmid team. You could sort of see that this was going to maybe materialize. It's the first real long conversation. And we talked about, of course, the 5-4 game there and the draw number 1 on Tuesday. Pretty well was a low scoring one, you know, going 10 ends, 9 points combined by the teams. This could be, of course, they really don't want to put up a crooked number there for Arsenault and then have to be chasing the rest of the way. So a good timeout really to take.
Yeah, and this is one where if I were Danny, I would probably try to just guide them into that shot that we were looking at. You really have to try to force to a single, and if you're able to get the nice roll behind the guard, you'll probably have a better chance of getting that. I think with the draw to try to freeze that onto the corner of that stone, you probably won't get the curl that you need in order to make that shot. The hit would probably be the most effective if I were the one throwing.
Danny Christensen there in the red and white striped shirt.
So it does appear like
Peter Corkum, sorry, you saw him fading off into the screen. Go ahead, my friend.
It does appear that Danny has convinced them to play that shot, the down weight, try to get to the inside of the nose of the blue stone at the 4-foot. If she can get this one really nice behind cover, it would really put Marianne Arsenault under pressure, having to draw on a side there that she just went heavy on. It's going to need to be a precise result for Kristen MacDiarmid, but we know she can make these, as she's done so all week.
Here is a 31-year-old Kristen MacDiarmid, accountant for CPA at CFFI Ventures, Inc., 2006 New Brunswick Provincial Champion, 3-time New Brunswick Junior Provincial Champion, and a 2000 Provincial Junior Championship.
So she's gone more for the try to flop over. Sweeper's really working on this, so coming up just light. That will give the opportunity for Marianne to draw full 8-foot for her deuce. It's definitely a well-played game so far from Marianne Arsenault of being able to force a few mistakes out of the Kristen MacDiarmid 4 and execute on those even ends, which, as many of our viewers know, it's very important if you're with last rock and the even ends to be able to score the multiple point ends in those to get big leads and keep hammer going in those important ends.
Concentration, mentally planning the shot before you throw. As we see the delivery from Marianne Arsenault out of this Dartmouth Curling Club. It's where we're at here Sunday afternoon. Trying to get 2 points here.
Sweeper's working on this here.
To go up 4-1. As John mentioned, Kraus, Baxter on the brooms, scrubbing. just like it's nobody's business. Scrub, scrub, scrub. There you go. And the reaction will tell you the story. 2 here for Arsenault in 4. So Marianne Arsenault 4, Krista McDermott 1. As we head to end number 5, McDermott will have the hammer throwing the yellow stones.
So you're probably going to see Marianne's going to go to a bit of a more defensive style game a little bit now with a 3-point lead.
This is where she's the most dangerous, my friend.
And she is the most dangerous with that type of a lead at this point in the game. That being said, Kristen McDermott is going to play probably pretty hard for her deuce. If she can try to get her 3, it would be great. But as we've seen throughout this tournament, Marianne Arsenault has not dropped very many multiples. And again, that's why she has those 6 wins in a row and had the bye to this final.
Of course, if some of the viewers were with us from Friday, we had the Arsenault-Ladouceur game, and that, of course, what she did at Arsenault, she got a 4 spot in number 1, and basically it was shutdown mode. It just didn't, all of a sudden you get a 4 spot in number 1, and she was just off to the races, in control, and basically Ladouceur was forced to chase, and when you get the other team to chase, that's just, that's what the Arsenault team wants you to do.
And that's truly one of the challenges that you do have there. That was one of those ones where Ladouceur coming in with a lot less experience than, of course, the legendary Marianne Arsenault. She was able to get a lot of experience out of that. And you'll probably see in a few years they'll be able to be the one getting those 4s in the first end at the big events. That was one of the great stories of this event, having the youngest team ever to qualify for the event in this province's history. Though they didn't get the wins they had hoped, they definitely put on an excellent show against some of the province's best. Gave a few of them a heart attack, including with that Kristen McDermott team.
Yeah, I was talking to Brian Rayfuse, and he said it just was, just one end air and one end there, and all of a sudden it was always like, the teams capitalized, and at this stage, on this with all these great teams competing against each other, that's all it is. You say 1 or 2 wins, and maybe they could have got maybe like a victory or 2, but I mean they are a young up and coming team, and success is not built overnight. You don't just all of a sudden go to bed one morning, next morning you're a world champion. It's going to have to pay your dues.
Yeah, it takes practice, and these teams have really shown that putting in the hard work to achieve success consistently throughout the season and throughout their many years of playing, it pays off with trips to these finals, and you'll probably see these young teams like that starting to make more appearances in the big events like this, and be a major factor in Nova Scotian curling in the future. The future is bright here in Nova Scotia with some of these young stars coming up.
Of course, a berth in the Scotties is what's up for grabs, and coming up in the 7th end, we're going to talk about some of the participants there at the championships, John. So far, we were talking about Carrie Galusha last night, Sherry Anderson, and of course we'll go through as they're doing playdowns too, so we'll probably get the latest updates to see if anybody else has punched their ticket here.
Yeah, there are 5 provinces, including Nova Scotia, that are determining their champions today, so we'll give you updates in the 7th end as to who's booked their ticket. Today's the final day, as after the end of today, we'll have 15 of the 16 spots determined, and you'll probably know who will be playing in the wild card game on January 26th for the final position in the Scotties at the Penticton. So playing pretty open style here, trying to play the hits to open it up.
Bang, bang. Really replaces that, just that Belusto that was on the center line with the other one that was out towards the wings.
So McDermott's going to want to try to protect that there, being that she needs to score multiple here. Interesting to see she was originally looking at playing a very tight line there. She's now going to come from center line out, which that area has curled a little bit more. So it will be something to watch for as it gets about halfway down the sheet. It will start to curl a little bit.
Liz Woodworth has ridden the second stones here in number 5. So far, the only blank in the game came in the first in. And no steals to report. So that comes to a stop. A long guard there for the MacDiarmid team out of the Halifax Curling Club.
I just noticed walking into the ice shed there, Travis Coulter, Julia's husband, just walked in to watch his wife in action. He had a tough loss there yesterday, so it's good to see him out here cheering on Team MacDiarmid and his wife in this one. Still a long way to go, but again, these games have changed a lot, and you're going to see it start to get tighter as the game moves along.
Yeah, also down ice levels, almost like a doppelganger sort of thing, as a couple of ladies have the similar outfits that the Arsenault foursome is wearing.
I think if I recognize one of the kids in that crowd, I think that's one of Christina Black's children, who she's been around the curling clubs the past few years cheering on her mom, and always very enthusiastic about the sport.
Yeah, we're seeing that. Of course, they're not on camera, but we're seeing it there as they are down at ice level, cheered on, and pretty well got some smiles on their faces. The team that they're cheering is leading 4-1 as we are in the 5th. Light brushing here.
They need this to sort of come down a little bit, get some curl toward the center line.
And now they're going, and we'll come to a stop in the 4.
Yes, that's going to be open enough that you'll probably see Marianne will call for about, probably, if I were to guess, probably okay, she's playing a little bit of a harder weight than I thought, so this area must run a little bit straighter than normal. Either that or she's not wanting to hold her shooter.
One of the things that Pam Sullivan and I were talking about is how Pam, of course, being a coach of Team Grey, the juniors in the men's side, how square and great the Arsenault teams in terms of delivery rate of the hack, pretty well just, square and, no wobbles or anything.
Yeah, that's really the name of the game, and they've been really well coached in creating an effective delivery. All of these players have, and that's what's really good to see, because so much of this game is physical in the fact that the least bit of a mistake in technique can cost a mistake in a shot and result in misses, which the least bit of a mistake can cost you a win.
Well, the pressure's on here. Late stages of end number 5, as we saw a couple seconds ago, 3 blue stones belonging to Arsenault. Trying to get it to go over. Encouragement by some of the MacDiarmid fans close to our broadcast location and ice side. And they'll just bump one of those blues back. But they're the shot stone for the meantime.
So now hitting on the nose there, it gives the opportunity for Marianne to call for Christina Black, I believe, there to go for that same type of hit and roll. If you're able to do that and try to get it full 8, almost biting the forefoot, it would really put a lot of pressure on Kristen with her skip stones. It would really force Marie to make a good one with some of hers.
Black yelling as soon as she let it go. Baxter on the brush. Kraus try to get on the tail end of that one, and they'll remove the yellow.
That kind of surprises me. The Rocks have been a little bit lively on those big weight hits throughout the week, so it really didn't get the movement like we had thought. Gives the opportunity now that you're going to see another hit here from Marie Christensen. If she can get behind, it would really set her up well. She won't be shot stone, but it will be a good setup for a potential multiple.
Out there on its own right now. Now Coulter gets in on it. Taps the blue. And it will come to a rest there. It'll be the second shot stone here,
okay,
as you said.
A good result there. It still leaves it open, so you'll probably see Marianne may consider going for a hit. But judging from how she's just gesturing it, she may try to draw top 8-ish, almost biting the 4, and try to put Kristen into a position where she has to execute a very precise draw, or at least use one of her stones to peel out the front and make it a little bit more open for her.
We've done a lot of games together over the last 2 years, probably, in curling. I've never heard you use the term 8-ish. That's the first time you've used that. I've heard other terms for it, but 8-ish?
Well, it's a
yeah.
situation where it can be good in the 8 foot, good in the 4 foot, so you don't have to be as precise with it. So I guess that's just a little fun term I like to use sometimes.
Yeah, it's how the young kids are talking these days.
I think that's one where I'm a little bit unique with that. So.
Skip stones here in 5.
So it looks like you're going to see some weight here. This area, based on what we saw there with some of the stones from Kristen, it does, and her team, it does stay pretty straight. So you'll see it drift out a little bit, and then it will start to come back. Question is how thick can they get to that? And are they trying to keep it in the house? Because they're going to have a roll here.
Gross on it as soon as it comes out of Marianne Arsenault's hand. Now off, and as you can see, whoa, whoa, whoa. Skipper's mouth. Pushes the yellow. Won't be able to keep the blue, but raises that yellow stone to the tee line in the 8-foot area.
And that sets up really well for Kristen MacDiarmid. Now it gives the opportunity that she's probably going to play that draw behind the center guard to try to get to sit 2, because she currently now holds shot stone with that stone at the edge of the 8. If she's able to get this one nice and buried, it would really put Marianne under pressure and could manufacture a 3-pointer to tie up the game going into the 5th end break.
Be a great way to head into the 5th end break.
You know, it would be good simply just mentally. It gets it that now you're feeling good, you're on a roll, you get the big point when you needed it, and it makes it that you're a 5-end game away from going on to the Scotties Tournament of Hearts.
Excellent point. Make the first 5 ends just a memory. Girls out of Halifax Curling Club, and we've talked about other experience she's had. Kristen MacDiarmid here in end number 5.
Gonna need to curl a little bit here. It's really not curling.
Not much rotation on the rock. Woodworth Coulter, they were on the brush, but they'll sit there in the 4-foot area to lie 2.
It's still not as straightforward as you may think, because there is the possibility that if you hit this one a bit too thick, you'll see a potential jam at the back of the 8. So you'll probably see Marianne will play more of a really firm weight on this. If she can get it to stick around and stick in for shot, that would really be a good result.
Amazing how ends turned around because of the early start of this. It was like Arsenault with a lot of stones in play. Of course, 3 be precise. And now 2 yellow strokes, Volga 2, McDiarmid with the final throw here from Arsenault and in number 5. Without hammer.
Weight looks close here, so
Yep, she's telling them to go, and Kroos is going best she can. Hit and roll, and the fans here, of course, close to our broadcast location, they love it.
So that really does put Kristen under pressure. She needs to probably draw just a little bit more of a full position in the forefoot to try to score her single. It's going to be a challenge there, but a really good shot there from Marianne Arsenault really causes this.
A precise shot that got the approval of the fans here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, of course, cheering for their hometown girl here. Hoping that she will represent Nova Scotia at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. The hardware's in the building, John. And we're getting close to that 5th end break, so we're 5 ends and 1 stone away from figuring that out. Final stone here for McDiarmid here in end number 5.
Sweeper's just working on this, trying to ensure it's just enough. Got to slow down here.
Sweeper's going.
It's good here, so good result.
Yeah, we'll sit there and we'll get the single point. So that's how the trend has gone here, as McDiarmid will be heading into the 5th end break down 4-2. So it's Marianne Arsenault of the Dartmouth Curling Club 4, Kristen McDiarmid 2. After 5 ends of play. So Arsenault will have the hammer in end number 6 when we return to the Dartmouth Curling Club for the Nova Scotia Scotties final here on Bell 5 TV1. Back in about 4 minutes. there is the beautiful trophy that will either be staying here at the Dartmouth Curling Club or heading over to the Halifax Curling Club. Right now, after 5 ends of play, Marianne Arsenault has one hand on it, but of course she's going to have to put the other one on, and that's second half of coverage here of the Nova Scotia Scotties final on Bell 5 TV1. Dan Hobson alongside John Seitman. John, there's a term in basketball that they use, a 2-for-1. It's pretty well been the story of this one. Arsenault gets 2, MacDiarmid gets 1, and then Arsenault got another 2 and another 1 for MacDiarmid. And that's pretty well been the story. 4-2, 2-for-1 that they've gone. That's pretty well sums up the first half of this one.
Yeah, it's truly a situation here where Marianne has been able to sort of capitalize on some of the mistakes in ends 2 and 4 to get to that 4-2 lead. She's going to need to really score well in this end to sort of try to open it up. Kristen on the other side is going to have to try to steal to get back in this game and really make this game tight. It's still a long way to go. 5 ends to decide the Scotties Tournament of Hearts champion. Should be a good one.
Yeah, Kristen MacDiarmid will have the hammer, and she is throwing the yellow stones as we play in number 6.
So as we had mentioned going into the break there, Team Arsenault is probably going to play a little bit more defensive in style, try to go more for the less rocks in play, keeping it as simple as possible. You don't want to have mistakes made on the part of you that causes Kristen to be able to steal to get back in this game.
So Arsenault's lone blue stone, the only one in play right now. As we play the 6th in, Arsenault 4, MacDiarmid 2. MacDiarmid with the hammer, throwing the yellow stones. As we play in 6.
So playing some down weight here, trying to go for the flop over, I think. So it's going to probably just get close here, just Rex on the guard.
Well, I think we have some sort of gremlin or something because our graphics machine not working very well right now, so you do have to trust me on it. We are in the 6th end, and it will be MacDiarmid with the hammer. So we'll hopefully get those graphics fixed as soon as possible. As we take a look at Jennifer Krause. Of course, at this time, you know, for these championships to, as they get close to an end, we want to acknowledge, of course, the Dartmouth Curling Club for putting on a fantastic show here. The first time they've had it in quite a while. And you were talking to me at the juniors, first time they've had it since 2013, if memory serves me correct.
Yes, actually, the Scotties was more recent. That was 2015. But they've had it's the first time in this open, like this format with both events together, and they've truly put on an extremely good event. Mayflower definitely started it off well the first few years, and we're happy to keep it going and keep the event evolving. It's a great format to have the men and women together and put on a great show. And as well, we also want to thank all of our awesome commentators who have sat here in the booth, both on here on Sheet D and on Sheet C. Dan and and Vince Williams, who I believe was also here earlier in the week. Our producers, Sean Sanichel and Chuck Calder, all doing a great job in bringing Nova Scotian curling here to you. It's been a great week of broadcasts here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, a great tournament, and a very fitting conclusion, having two very strong teams, both one a actual Dartmouth team, one with many connections to Dartmouth, here in the final game.
Yep, so I'm going to correct myself. It is Arsenault that has hammer here and in number 6 throwing the blue stones.
So
yeah, we've had a fantastic week. Everything has just, gone on par, and of course, we're delighted to be here, and, we're hoping, of course, the thing is, Nova Scotia Curling, the tour continues on, and the next stop will be the seniors in Amherst next month.
And that's going to be a great event. You're going to see a lot of veterans of the sport. Probably see one of the legends in Colleen Pinckney make a good run. I don't remember if that will be close enough to the Olympics that Colleen Jones will not be there, but that would be a bit of a surprise, being that she is the defending world champion. And this event has been full of amazing stories, whether you've had Isabel Ladouceur, the junior team, making the appearance as the youngest in tournament history, or even we found out after the final that Paul Fleming, his dad, 50 years ago today, at this very club on the very same sheet that his son won the title, his father won it 50 years ago.
Yeah, he was talking to us earlier in the week, and he said 50 years ago this week. Nose hit there by the MacDiarmid foursome here in end number 6. In a 4-2 game, we thought it would be tight, and basically that's what we've gotten. A tight one Sunday afternoon here in Dartmouth Curling Club, Nova Scotia Scotties final.
And you're starting to see a lot more plays that do favor the Kristen MacDiarmid rink. Having 2 stones split there, it's going to need to... Okay, that will roll out, so that will give an opportunity for Kristen to get a bit of a better placed second stone here with this stone from Marie Christensen.
You see the only one belonging to MacDiarmid here in the 8-foot area right along the tee line. There it is. As we're in the third rocks here on the 6th in. Marie Christensen. Light brushing there by the front end. Coulter. Woodworth was going to join the party. Now she's in. All hands on deck right now with this stone on its way. And now they're going hard. You could hear the skip say hard, hard, hard. So here they go, going as hard as they can. Both Coulter, Woodworth drag it to line 2.
Yeah, they really wanted to curl a little bit more to try to get behind the guard into the 8-foot. With this area, it remains open and gives the opportunity for Marianne to have access to hit on it.
Christina Black.
And as we mentioned with the hit there, Christina is really good at that hit style play, having been a long time third. So she's going to be able to execute that well. Rolls over to flop behind the guards to sit second shot. So Kristen's going to change a little bit of that style and go around the other way. I think that this is actually a really good call because it seems they're not getting that type of curl that they want from the outturn side. So changing a little bit of the angles by going the other way could give them the ability to place it a little bit better. This area is going to be a little bit fresher because I don't think they've thrown as many in this area.
Marie Christensen giving instructions. Looking at the line, Coulter and Woodworth, pardon me. Now they go, 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 and it will come to a stop.
Okay, good result there from Marie Christensen. She probably would have wanted it to curl a little bit more, but it does make it dangerous. Because of the separation and the closeness to the stones of Marianne Arsenault's, you're going to see Marianne call for Christina to play the other one stone. either way, it's setting up in a position that Marianne may be forced to a single, which would be settling well for the game plan of Kristen McDermott to get back in the game.
A hit and roll towards the center line, back 4 as it comes to a rest.
So now in this situation, it makes it a little bit easier to try to get that roll behind the guard. Kristen's going to play the outturn side. If she can get over to probably bite the back of the forefoot behind cover, it would really make it a difficult line for Marianne because she'll have to draw, and she'll have to draw full forefoot to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of really important here for McDermott. We've talked off the top. It was a 2-for-1. Arsenault, every time she had hammer in this game, of course, with the exception of the blank and in 1, she got 2 in the second and 2 in the fourth, and McDermott has been only able to get a single point. So it's really important here for McDermott if she wants to get back into this to hold the, of course, multiple champion and multiple appearance here at the Scotties, just to 1 point as we play 6 in. Hit, flop, comes to a stop, just touching the 12-foot area, and in a couple seconds we'll see if it's buried.
I think it is. Yes, it is pretty much buried. The only problem with it is that it rolled a little bit further than she probably wanted it. Full 8 had made it a little bit more room for error. Now being that it's allowing the 8-foot, if you're full 8-foot, your shot stone. It's not the most difficult shot in the world, especially for somebody with the experience of Marianne Arsenault. You'll see Kristen will probably try to, depending on how this is placed, get a little bit of a better hit and roll to try to sit a multiple and put Marianne under pressure with her final stone.
Saw a little bit of pearly whites there from Kristen McDermott. Haven't seen a lot of it. Of course, we saw it with her win against Brothers last night. But calm, cool, collected she is as we're into the skip stones. Here is Arsenault here out of this Dartmouth Curling Club up by 2.
Sweeper's not touching this one, so the question is, where is the weight?
Yeah, I can see Baxter got her hand up, say, whoa. Now she'll get on the broom as it will dig in and stop in the top 4. Now, is there any way to do like a hit and roll and probably get in behind one that yellow one that's there just barely in the 8-foot area, John, for her to like cover up and hide?
I think that if I were going for it, you'd be going for it on the outturn side, on the left side of your screen. If you're able to get just a flop over toward that yellow, it makes it that you're pretty much needing to draw a full forefoot because you won't have any backing to do it. So if she's able to get to the inside of that stone, that could be a good result, which could set up for a good potential for Kristen McDermott going into Marianne Arsenault's final stone. The crowds are starting to pick up here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. I think I see every seat pretty much in the entire ice shed is full.
Yeah, starting to get loud up here. It's been pretty well loud since the since this one started here. As we see the final stone here for Kristen McDermott in end number 6.
Sweepers are going to need to go here. Be really careful with it, though. It's starting to curl a lot now. Okay.
And we'll go to the opposite side of what you were documenting, and it'll just a slight roll, but it will just stay there and wide open.
That is still a result that is good because it does go to the force. Being that Marianne is a little bit easier on those the hits when it comes to her style strategy of being able to go for the hits first, because she's just that good at them. This probably wouldn't be the shot I would have tried to leave for her, but again, it's challenging enough to be able to get that roll on the inside. executes well at the game plan, so Kristen will look to try to get a multiple point end in 7 to try to get back into it. If she can get at least a 2 back, it would really put some pressure on.
Facing 3 yellow stones belonging to Kristen McDermott. Final stone, Marianne Arsenault, out of this very own Dartmouth Curling Club, up by 2 with the hammer in 6.
So Sweeper's just dusting this one off and hits to score her single.
So the first time in this game that she has had to take a single point with hammer. It is now Marianne Arsenault 5, Kristen McDermott 2, as we go to end number 7, and McDermott will have the hammer throwing the yellow stones.
Yeah, that was definitely a good result there for Kristen McDermott. Now being able to try to go for the multiple with the last rock, she's going to be able to play a little bit of a more offensive style and try to get a few back and make this game a bit tighter. She's probably going to have to try to get at least 1 steal, which, being that Marianne hasn't given up very many steals all week, it could be a challenging situation. But if anybody's going to be able to do it, it's this Kristen McDermott rink. Yeah,
well, we talked about it. We teased it, of course. The 2018 Scotties being held in Penticton, British Columbia, the South Okanagan Events Center, and some of the names that have punched their tickets: Sylvia Robichaud, Stacey Curtis, Carrie Galusha, Sherry Anderson, and Robin McPhee, just to name a few.
This weekend there have been playdowns in 5 provinces, including here in Nova Scotia, and we actually just had one final already out of Quebec as a little bit of an upset, as Amelia Gagne, the junior team out of, I believe, Montreal, defeated a longtime champion out of Quebec, Yves Bellil, 7-6 in an extra end to pick up this year's Quebec Scotties title. There's also a few familiar names all over the countries still yet to play. Alberta semifinals are going on right now as we speak, as Chelsea Carey and Shannon Kleibrink, the former national champions, facing off. Winner to face Casey Scheidegger, the very strong dark horse team out of Alberta, looking to clinch that spot. Manitoba Jennifer Jones is in the final against Darcy Robertson, who beat Carrie Anderson. And in Ontario, Danielle Inglis beat Holly Duncan. Last night, Tracy Fleury beat Kristen McCarville to book her ticket as well, representing Northern Ontario.
Fantastic updates. And of course, you could go to Curling Canada to figure all those out.
And it's going to be a quick turnaround for these teams, as the Scotties does start on the 27th. After tonight, they will know, of course, 15 of the final 16. As with the new format, the final spot will be decided in a Friday night showdown between the top 2 teams on the CTRS rankings that did not win their provincial championships. Will get a extra shot. So far, the highest ranked one that has been knocked out was Carrie Anderson from Manitoba, and it's going to be interesting to see there. Chelsea Carey and Jennifer Jones, who are still above her, have yet to officially book their ticket by winning a provincial championship. So who knows who could get in to face potentially Anderson in that game. Or if both of those 2 teams lost, they'd end up facing each other as the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country this year. Still a long way to go as Alberta decides their champion tonight.
So as you see, Arsenault has elected to put her first 2 in the rings. And McDermott throws up guards. And now it's peel time. Jennifer Baxter here in 7.
So you're starting to see a little bit of that defensive style again coming from Marianne Arsenault, being able to, now she has the lead and some stones in play, she's going to start playing more of that hit style game, be a bit more defensive. She doesn't have to take as many risks with a 3-point lead already. If she can force Kristen to have to take a single here and then get the hammer back in and number 8, it could really make it extremely difficult on Kristen McDermott to get back in the match.
We're sitting in here with the fans, and, somebody ordered a pizza. I just can smell it in the air. I just know they did. Or I may be crazy, but I swear,
we may have been here a little while there, so who knows?
Yeah.
It may be the victory party there for Team Murphy, because I think I still see them back there celebrating after their victory over Mark Dacey this morning. A few of them have still stuck around.
Well, they have a lot to be happy about. Of course, easily defeating Mark Dacey. Well, it's just not Dacey's day, and you were just finding that we talked about the schedule being a grind and how Stuart Thompson had to pretty well play like 4 in a 23-hour span. Dacey played last night and had to come back here this morning. Meanwhile, Murphy was, free and clear on a Saturday, so and freshness really helps.
And it's going to be a little bit of redemption for that Jamie Murphy foursome, having one of their recent years that they did not make it into the main field of the Brier. They lost out on competing in the relegation final by a last stone draw by 2 centimeters. So to miss out on the qualification final by 2 centimeters, that was a little bit of a heartbreak for Team Nova Scotia. So now with them able to return to the main field, they'll look to make an impact in Regina.
Brock's blasted out there on a big throw here by the Arsenault team.
So here you're going to see a little bit more of an offensive style probably. I think they're debating between the draw around the 2 stones of Marianne Arsenault's or whether playing a tap would be beneficial. To me, it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, I think they're going to try to draw around to the 8-foot behind their own. Actually, no, they're playing the tap. They're playing the tap on the yellow, I think. It's tough to tell because they're playing such tight ice that, but it sort of drift out a little bit.
You okay with this call?
It's a bit challenging because I think I'd be probably trying to figure out a spot to draw around and then try to play a hit on one of the stones from Marie. So this is a little bit of a challenging result if you don't make it. They have to raise this one just perfect to get a good result.
Liz Woodworth trying to raise that yellow. Spin, spin, spin. We'll come to the stop and spin back.
Yes, that brought it out to the open side. It gives the opportunity for a Marianne Arsenault to have access to that to try to go for a hit. She's going to probably try to want to roll away to be further out into the 8-foot to sort of split the house a bit. And knowing Christina Black with how she throws, she's really good at making those.
Baxter on the broom. Kroos there walking along, was going to join, decided not to, so you know that they're pretty close to it. Yes, they'll pick that yellow one out easy. Roll to the outside and stay there. 1, 2, 3. Blue stones belong to Arsenault as she lies 3 here in end number 7.
So now this is pretty much going to force Kristen McDermott to play into the house behind those stones of Marianne Arsenault's. It would be really beneficial if she was able to get to the back of the 4-foot enough to conceal it enough so that it forces Marianne to sort of play a little bit of a tap on her own to get access to it. It would be a good shot. Marie needs to get this one just right in order to be effective with it. It's really starting to curl now.
Relying on the sweepers. Coulter Woodworth. As John said, it's coming over. And look at that.
And
piece of the button.
That really did curl a lot more than what we've seen all week. And again, that may be a little bit also of the fact that the conditions are a little bit different than what we've probably seen throughout the week. A little bit different as well than what we saw last night in the semifinal. So it may have sped the ice up a slight little bit. You're going to see a firm play onto this stone, trying to raise the one of Marianne into the stone of Kristen McDermott's.
Dana Black with one with speed here. Blue onto the yellow, pushes it out. And probably could see about 7/8 of the rock, but they do lie 3 here as we're into third rocks.
So you're going to probably have to see a similar type of tap behind the guard for this one from Marie Christensen. You really need to get it buried or else you're really going to be chasing.
There you see the situation that this McDermott team is facing here. Marie Christensen. And just as soon as it came out of her hand, Coulter Woodworth, team shot. They're trying to execute here, and in number 7. That blue stone in the 12-foot area is starting to come over by an inch, and they'll just pop right onto the lid of that blue stone. So the second shot.
So it's a little bit of a setup shot now. You're not shot stone, but at least you're in a position where it's very difficult to remove it. You're probably going to see, if I were to guess, I would see Marianne throw a little bit of extra weight. Being that she's pretty buried now, it may also be beneficial to even try to force a steal, because it's there that if you guard it up, you could steal a single point and really shut down the game. Because up 4 without last rock, it's still challenging to get back into it.
Baxter with some quick housekeeping there just before this throw from Arsenault. And now it's on its way. McDermott has the hammer. She's throwing the yellow stones, as you see. The 2 Jennifers right there. Baxter, Kraus have their lunch pail and their hard hat on as they are going to work here on a Sunday afternoon at the Dartmouth Curling Club. Now Kraus there. Last few brushing, and it comes to a stop.
So that's going to make for a challenging call either way. I think that you're probably going to see a position where Kristen's going to have to play a double tap, it appears, to try to go blue onto yellow enough to remove the blue and get shot stone. She's only going to score a single, so she's going to need to try to steal it at some point in ends 8 through 10 to get back in and potentially bring this game to a very tight conclusion.
Two different stories. You see a very quiet crowd in the background there at the Dartmouth Curling Club, and lots of chatter and lots of noise being made up here as we are into the late stages of this one for the 2018 Nova Scotia Scotties final on Bell 5 TV1. Kristen McDermott will punch that blue one on the top, and she'll roll, stay there in the 12-foot area.
Still enough to open it up so that now there's some possibilities to score multiple.
As you mentioned, it opened it up, so not a bad result.
I will mention here, as Marianne and Christina start to decide their shot, I didn't realize that the result in Quebec is a little bit of an upset there, because we had our 18-year-old young junior skip coming in here in Isabelle Douceur. The winner of the Scotties in Quebec is a 18-year-old junior team, so one of the youngest teams to compete at the national level, going in after an upset victory over Yves Belil in an extra end to head off to Penticton.
That could be some sleepless nights there for them as they go onto the national stage. Congrats to them. Like you mentioned, some of the people that are, of course, going to be in the field. Michelle Inlot there, representing Team Canada. We mentioned, of course, broadcast we did most recently that, of course, because of the Olympiads of Rachel Holman, the runner-up bumps up and becomes Team Canada. And, of course, you were saying about Chelsea Carey and Jennifer Jones still trying to qualify there out west. And we also mentioned about Sherry Anderson already in for Saskatchewan, Carrie Galusha. Stacey Curtis, Sylvia Robichaud, and Rob McPhee, who we've seen at the Dave Jones a couple of times.
So final stone here from Marianne, looking to guard against the tap for 2. If you're the least bit off, it does give a few opportunities to score multiple. The most I pretty much see getting back is 2. Question is, where does this one land?
We'll stop there in the just barely in the rings of the top 12. Carey and Clybrink going at him. Take a look at the big screen over there. That's
5-5 playing 8. Carey does have the last rock in it, and number 8. A battle of the former national champions over there at the Medicine Hat Curling Club.
Well, Nova Scotia's own Teresa Breen actually faced Shannon Clybrink in one of the cash wheels and actually came away with a win. So,
actually, I believe that was that at the Road to the Roar, because I think that they played each other in the pre-trials.
I know there was a victory at one time for Breen over Clybrink. I can't remember which event, but it goes to show you that we're getting there.
And Nova Scotia truly has had a lot of success on the circuit very recently, and we're certainly not the ones to underestimate. We have seen this Marianne Arsenault team defeated Rachel Holman and Jennifer Jones in the same Scotties.
In the same day.
In the same day as well, yeah. So no longer are our teams the understatement. Oh, and good result there from Kristen McDermott. Gets the tap to score her single.
Pushed a single point there, and it gets the approval here of the Dartmouth Curling Club fans as McDermott gets a single point, but it was a hard-earned point. So it makes it Marianne Arsenault 5, Kristen McDermott 3. Arsenault will have the hammer, throwing the blue stones, and in number 8.
So it's going to be a very challenging situation now. With 3 ends left to play, Kristen really needs to try to manufacture a potential steal. So you're going to see Arsenault is going to really try to defend against that possibility and try to score a multiple to put this game potentially out of reach. It's going to be a tight one either way, as both teams are really good at scoring the points late in the match.
They met in the first draw, of course, for those that are just joining us. It was a 5-4 win, McDermott over Marianne Arsenault, and that was on Tuesday, but that seemed like just a distant memory. 5-3 as we play the 8th, Arsenault leading McDermott. And as you see, Arsenault with hammer here in the 8th, throwing the blue stones. We're delighted to have you here for the Nova Scotia Scotties final. My name's Dan Hobson, delighted to have John Seitman here. Producer Sean Seneschal and the Bell 5 TV1 crew streaming this one online here. The 2018 Nova Scotia Scotties final.
So looking here, Arsenault trying to set up what appears to be a corner guard. So you're going to see a bit more of an offensive style from them.
Well, if you're up by 2 and you get a 2 and big, that may be a little bit of a big hole. But I mean, the thing is, as McDermott team, we talked about how solid they have been, solid season. I'm sure the MacDiarmid's going to have a lot to say what goes on here in this end, and really not much missed shots in this one. Just maybe half misses here and there, but it's been well played by both teams.
Yeah, pretty much it's been just those little small mistakes being the big difference. As I've been pretty much preaching the entire week of the little things being the big difference. All these teams that came here to Dartmouth are all worthy of winning the Scotties title. That's why they qualified to get here. That's why they have the skill to win this title. So having those little things that separate the great teams from the excellent performances, that's what gets you to the position where you are. And Arsenault truly showing that, currently up by 2 with Last Rock.
Baxter with hand up in the air. MacDiarmid trying to sweep it out and get it deep as possible. Will be just a piece of the back 8. So we already know that Jamie Murphy will be representing the men's at the Briar. Right now, Arsenault leads MacDiarmid 5-3 as we play the 8th. With a ticket to the Scotties in British Columbia up for grabs here on Bell 5 TV1's coverage of the Nova Scotia Scotties Final. Coulter light brushing. See if they can. They're going to sail by the blue stone. Arsenault right there trying to get it out the rest of the way, but it'll be deep in the back 12, and just like that, Arsenault will come out and ask for those yellow guards to be removed, 1 guard at a time, and she'll put that in the capable hands of Jennifer Baxter here in end number 8.
So there you're going to see this stone
goes through the port and out, yeah, and out of play. So
a little thing to note here, with this tournament so far, as you see there, Kristen MacDiarmid needing to score at least 2 points to get back in the game. Potentially, if she's able to force, it would probably be a 3. Marianne Arsenault has not given up a 3 the entire tournament from the statistics that I noticed there. Kristen MacDiarmid has given up a 3, and that was the most that she's given up in the event.
Yeah, so far, as you mentioned, that's an excellent stat, and no 3s in this one. Just been a 2-for-1 game, as you see. Of course, Arsenault was forced to take 1 in end number 6. And that, of course, the other times that she's had hammers, she's had 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th. My eyes are trying to get back to, as they are doing some photography here for, of course, the sites and social media here, and the flash just went off, and
yeah,
my eyes are trying to recuperate.
I'm surprised that you probably won't see an umpire just letting that photographer know that you're not supposed to use a flash photography in the ice shed, just as it is distracting to the players. I've seen a few times that some players have gotten a little bit ticked off, as a very nice way to say it there, as, as they've had one they've delivered a rock, and it could potentially result in some mistake because you get a little bit distracted as you're delivering.
Definitely some of the players reacted like after that happened, so here's a big missile on its way here. Bang, they do push the blue towards the side, so, and the yellows now will be, as you see, in the still in the 12-foot area. They threw the big weight. Center line opens up on that one. shot rock does belong to Arsenault here.
So now you are going to have to see Marie Christensen will probably go here for a tap on this stone up.
And they have just, we talked about, they have just warned, of course, the no flash photography, so.
Yeah, I believe I saw head umpire Gordon Woodsworth out there just giving a little bit of a reminder to ones with cameras, just you are allowed to take pictures, and many times at these big events, the cameras are very alive with getting some good shots of these top-notch curlers, but having some flashes out of the corner of the eyes can be a little bit distracting.
And they'll just get a piece of that yellow, and they'll push the blue, and just like that, second shot it is now for Arsenault. So,
and that's one of the that's how this game has gone for Kristen MacDiarmid. It seems just a little bit of situations like that have caused just crazy results like that, and to have now Marianne Arsenault sitting 2, you're really going to need to place this just right to avoid against.
Marie Christensen, our cameras did catch it, had her hand on her hip, and it was almost like, what, are you kidding me? Like that sort of type moment. Now she'll make her way down ice. And
yeah, might as well take the time just to discuss the call, just be absolutely sure. When you're down by 2 without last rock, you really need to be able to be confident that the call that you're able to have for your shot is going to be what will get you your multiple. And Marie's a very experienced skip in her own right as well, so she is able to talk shop here with her skip and be absolutely sure that she's confident to make the call that Kristen wants her to make.
L5 TV1, the official broadcaster of Atlantic University Sport, reminds everybody that, hey, we've got some basketball, hockey action coming up. All you have to do is go to tv1.bellalliant.ca/TV to find out some of the games that we'll be covering on Channel 1. L5 TV1, the official broadcaster of Atlantic University Sport. Of course, getting into championship season, John, so we're getting all pumped for that. We're here at these championships. Already have one been given away to Jamie Murphy, and we're going to be another championship here going in the hands of either Kristen MacDiarmid or Marianne Arsenault as we play the 8th.
Yeah, and that will continue on the very busy day of championship curling here across Canada as we try to close off this Scotties Tournament of Hearts national field and decide who will go on to Penticton. It's going to be an exciting tournament at the national level as Canada is the defending world champion, but there will be a new world champion with Rachel Holman going on to the Olympics. She will not defend her title. So whoever wins Canada will be the favorite at the World Championships. They're really sweeping this, trying to get as far as they can.
Giving them the encouragement to go hard, and they do.
That probably came up light from what they wanted. I think that they were trying to probably go down to freeze to that stone at the back of the 4-foot. So it is open now that if they were to want to remove it, they could do so.
Well, give kudos there to Coulter and Woodward. They were working hard on that one there from pretty well right out of the hand of Marie Christensen.
So now you're probably going to see here, you can get to the nose of this stone. You're going to remove that front yellow and probably have the ability to remove the back yellow as well.
Christina Black throwing a bomb here in 8. Bang, bang, bang. Spills the yellow, sticks the blue. And look at that right now. 1, 2, and 3 belong to Arsenault.
Yeah, that's extremely well played, and especially because now, just because the rock on the center line is on the left side of center, it makes it difficult to come down to freeze to that. And with the stone at the edge of the 12-foot, it's very difficult to come through that port. It's going to take some pretty good sweeping to direct it over properly. But if you get it through that tight port, you could have the potential to force a big play out of Marianne on one of her stones.
Christina Black there smiling, and Arsenault having a good chuckle, and after a throw like that, I'd be pretty happy too.
Yeah, when you have a good result like that in a championship final, it's something to be proud of. It's still keeping the moment because you have 3 ends left to play to close out a potential championship. Knock on wood there, because you never know what could happen.
Well, we're into skip stoats here at end number 8. Kristen McDermott out of the Halifax Curling Club. And you could hear her telling the sweepers to go hard. They are going hard. Trying to come around. And they'll come up just a little light on that one.
Yeah, they definitely left that a little bit short from where they wanted it. And
timeout quickly called. This is the first one here for the Marianne Arsenault team, and coaches Danny Christensen, Peter Corcoran will make their way down the ice. Peter Corcoran, of course, with the Dartmouth Curling Club, and Danny Christensen with the Halifax Curling Club. And they'll be in your picture in just a couple of seconds.
Hey, I don't know if we mentioned it during the profile. They did list with Team Arsenault. Peter Corcoran has coached at 23 Briars and 3 World Championships, and has 2 Purple Hearts as a player himself. So very experienced.
Well, there he was there in the center of your screen with the purplish bluish sweater, talking to his team here. So both teams have 1 timeout left.
So I think the thing that Peter is probably trying to talk with them about is simply, if you play the hit, you're probably leaving open that exact same shot for Kristen McDermott on her second stone. The question is, do you want to leave that because she has the idea on how to make it, or do you just try to play it so that side is blocked, and then it forces a draw the other way to the full 4-foot to try to sit a single point, of which you could probably have a raise to remove it. There's a few very difficult options, but it is very much in the realm of possibility either way.
Coaches have had their 30 seconds of glory, and now they will head back upstairs and be right close to our broadcast location after giving their 2 cents worth on the situation that is facing these teams here in end number 8.
Yeah, might as well take the time there. You're down to about 9 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock and counting, so just take the time to ensure that the shot that you're going to choose is the right shot. It does appear there like she is going to try to draw around to try to draw a third, which is going to be a good shot depending on where she places it. If she's the least bit outside, and it would give the opportunity for Kristen to play a hit and roll over, it could result in a steal. If you're the least bit perfect of an over curl and in, it would shut down the end, and you'd be at the potential to score a 3 and potentially close out this match. Big shot here for the former national champion.
Stone, it's on its way here from Marianne Arsenault, the first of 2. Starts to take off, of course, right around the hog line. Brushers, Kraus, Baxter, the 2 Jennifers. Comes to a stop. Pretty well hand in hand with that other stone, and you see you know, high fives and approvals from the team after that shot there, John.
Yeah, I kind of do favor that for third shot. So the question is now, if you hit the right in the pocket there between those two, can you get the back blue? That is the question. If you're able to get that, you could potentially score your deuce, but if it's the least bit thick, it could result in a steal.
Danny Christensen trying to get the team's attention for the timeout as another flash goes off here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, and nobody saw it. He was trying to get it, so interesting moments and drama. So hard about, of course, having a coaching box like, you know, that's upstairs and they're downstairs, and an unfortunate break here for this team out of the Halifax Curling Club is, of course, the coaches have to get the players' indication to try to get the timeout, and they were unable to see it. So,
yeah, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast of having to call the timeout from the ice. Coaches can't call the timeouts themselves, so Kristen looking for the nose here.
Going hard. Hey, they just blew by that blue and they almost got it. It got the reaction here, the fans here at the Dartmouth Curling Club.
So that will be now a draw for a multiple for sure. But the question is, with this position, you're probably, yeah, you are going to see the hit. So if you hit and get the stick on that stone at the edge of the 8-foot, you're potentially going to score a 3 and shut this game down, potentially win yourself a Scotties title. It would be a very challenging result to be able to come back from a potential 8-3 down. Not out of the realm of possibility, but with the amount that of high-scoring ends that Team Arsenault has given up, which is very few this week, it would be a monumental task.
She began these championships with a loss to Krista McDermott, 5-4, draw number 1, and has ran the table since. Final stone here for Marianne Arsenault of the Dartmouth Curling Club.
Gets the jam, but still scores her 3 because they had the stone at the top of the 12. Yeah, so that will be an 8-3 lead for Marianne Arsenault, the Dartmouth Curling Club. Kristen McDermott will have the last rock, playing end number 9.
So a little bit of a mixed reaction here at the Dartmouth Curling Club on that one. And the first 3, we had to wait till the 8th in to see it. 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the 6th, and 3 in the 8th.
So you're going to pretty much see a very straightforward style here from Marianne Arsenault. You really don't need to have very many rocks in play, if any. Just keep it as clean as possible, and if you can limit McDermott in scoring opportunities, if at all, yeah, that could be what could shut the game down, as you see Jennifer Krause heaving one through. So trying to take the potential victory lap here to try to just shut down this final and send Marianne Arsenault to the Scotties Tournament of Hearts.
And there it is, it's been officially put on the board there, 8-3, as we play the 9th. McDermott will have the hammer, and she is throwing the yellow stones. And
so now here you're going to see one of the most important parts of this end is going to be here in Julia Coulter, as you see
Yeah,
little slip from Liz Woodworth. Just setting up the corner guard and get it in a position where it can protect. Yeah, that's just truly been the kind of game it's been. So,
yeah, well, good part about it is that she's okay. We don't really want anybody to, get injured, and she seems to be all right, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, many of these curlers have over the years probably had their bumps both on the scoreboard and up and down the sheets like that. I know I've had a few here and there during my curling career.
What was the hardest spill that you ever taken?
I took a fall on top of a rock.
Ouch.
Just before my final stone in the 8th end of a 3-hour match at the Under-18 Provincial Championships. So,
Carrie leading Clyde over in the Alberta women's final.
And Carrie does have the last rock in end number 10. So she's looking to face Casey Scheidegger in the Alberta final. That will be tonight, I believe, at 7:30 Atlantic.
Well, that's the thing. This one will, of course, wrap up this afternoon. They get a chance to, with the time difference, to see what's going on and maybe get a little bit of pre-scouting done. But, of course, I imagine probably more of the celebration would be going on. More than anything.
There will be a little bit of celebration, but again, with the fact that it's been such a long, actually such a short time frame between the end of the provincial and the start of the national Scotties, they're going to want to have a game plan.
That's a little bit too close for comfort, and the cheering section giving it to Jen Baxter. She's having a giggle about it off camera. That's a little tighter than almost a near miss, and that's probably, that was close sort of moment. Liz Woodworth.
As we mentioned there with the Carey versus Clybrink match, there's also a few other matches there as Holly Duncan leads Danielle Inglis 2-1 in the Ontario Scotties final, and I believe Manitoba has yet to play, but that is Darcy Robertson versus Jennifer Jones, looking to the Olympic gold medalist looking to return to the Scotties. It will be a little bit of a different lineup at the Nationals, with Caitlin Laws going on to the Olympic Games with John Morris in mixed doubles, but she is still competing with Team Jones at the provincial, looking to book their ticket to Penticton.
And they're trying to brush it towards the side of the wings there with black.
So pretty quickly you're seeing now Kristen calling to move it play into the house.
Liz Woodworth here as we play in number 9. If you're just joining us, glad you could join us. It's the Nova Scotia Scotties final. Alongside John Slightman, my name is Dan Hobson, and let's get you up to date on what you've missed if you just tuned in on this Sunday afternoon, Championship Sunday here from the Dartmouth Curling Club. Arsenault had the hammer to start things in number 1. She blanked number 1. Scored 2 in the first. MacDiarmid came back, got 1 in the third. Arsenault with 2 in the fourth. MacDiarmid with 1 in the fifth. And Arsenault got 1 in the sixth. MacDiarmid 1 in the seventh. And a turning point of this one, 3 and in number 8 as we play in number 9.
And you can really see it on the scoreboard, as what we said there with scoring in the even ends. Team Arsenault has really been able to exploit that in the even ends. Of course, only a single point in end number 6, but getting multiples in 2, 4, and 8. It's really shown the importance of having the last rock in those even ends and scoring big with that.
Marie Christensen getting ready here for release the rock here at end number 9. And pretty well nothing much going on in terms of offense here in this end.
Yeah, just looking for the tap here. Try to roll yours over behind the guard, it appears, there.
And will it roll too much? No, nice little finesse shot there, buried behind that blue one on the outside of the rings and the wings, so nice placement.
And honestly, if I were in the situation of a Marianne Arsenault, I would honestly be fine with giving up a 2 here. Because you give up a 2, you're up 8-5 with last rock in the 10th end of the provincial final, and you have a pretty good chance that you could have the ability to score and win the game.
Hard scrubbing here, and they keep the line and punch it. Maybe a slight roll at best. Sit there in the 8-foot area. One of the things that, you know, we love sports, of course, there's no doubt about it. You do some public address announcing, Major Midget Hockey League, and I go around and do a lot of events there. And, you know, at the end of the championships, you know, it's always, you know, kind of hard to see like a team lose, but I mean, that's the reality of sport. One team's got to win, one team's got to lose. It's just,
unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast, and both of these teams have had a great season. It's a shame that one of their seasons has to come to an end, but the one certainty, whether it be Team MacDiarmid or Team Arsenault, is that we will have a great representative at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Penticton.
Puts it right onto the lid of that blue one. Nice shot there by Marie Christensen here in 9.
And it's been truly fitting there today that the top 2 teams in both the Scotties Tournament of Hearts and the Deloitte Tankard have gotten to face off in the championship final. It shows that consistency throughout this whole event is rewarded with the trip to the final.
Well, the thing is that it also shows, of course, how really, you know, physically demanding this schedule was, because, I mean, the ladies pretty well had, there was only one day where they only had 1 draw. So, I mean, they played 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, and then 1 Thursday, and then back to 2 on Friday. So it really showed the importance of winning first place and, you know, getting that body, you know, not have to play a game on Saturday. You mentioned that they were here practicing the Arsenault foursome here, doing some throws and getting used to ice conditions and stuff. So, I mean, but the thing is that you talked about it, of course, with it being a 1-2. The Thompson team finished 3rd after tiebreakers, and it was really tough there to win, try to 4-win in a 23-hour time span, and a lot to spin on Marianne
really close here.
That picks out the yellow, spins toward the wings and out. But, you know, 4 games in 23 hours for Stuart Thompson, that was difficult. And, you know, also again here, because that was a pretty well, like the MacDiarmid team really had, you know, brothers' number last night, but it's just to turn around in the afternoon and, you know, have to face like a world-class team out of this Dartmouth Curling Club. And sometimes, as I say, it's just the schedule is the grind, but I mean, the thing is, everybody has to do it.
And again, that's what you expect out of a strong team like Marianne Arsenault. She's going to be on her game every time she steps foot on the ice, so you have to be on your game, and unfortunately just the little things have been the big difference here on Championship Sunday.
And of course, once again, I want to thank the Dartmouth Curling Club, of course, all the people that have helped out. Chuck and Sean, our producers, all the broadcasters have helped. We've enjoyed being here, and we're delighted, and, you know, going to be back next year here. So,
yeah, and we'll look forward to bringing you back here to the Dartmouth Curling Club next January as a little bit of a reaction from the crowd of the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Alberta, yes, as it's Shannon Clybrink beating Chelsea Carey.
Slight bump there and pushes the blue just touching the 4-foot area.
So with that loss from Chelsea Carey. If Jennifer Jones wins tonight, then that would mean that it would be Chelsea Carey versus Carrie Anderson in the wild card game at the Scotties, looking for the final berth.
Closing stages of event number 9, closing stages of the Nova Scotia's Scotties final. Final stone. Final stone for Marianne Arsenault here out of the Dartmouth Curling Club.
Yeah, looking for a pretty similar shot as her last, just pick out that yellow of Team MacDiarmid's, and does so. Great shot there.
And, well, for MacDiarmid, just pretty well hit stick for 2. As she has the hammer here, 9.
And even scoring your deuce, you'll still be, as we had said, down 8-5 without last rock. And if you look at the amount of steals that Marianne Arsenault has given up all week, she hasn't given up very many. So it will be a very difficult uphill climb.
She's had a 68% winning percentage, started the championships with 5 straight wins. Kristen MacDiarmid out of the Halifax Curling Club of her final stone here in number 9, hoping to score her first 2 in the Nova Scotia Scotties final.
There you go, we'll score her deuce, 8-5. The score still remains now for Marianne Arsenault, and Arsenault will have the last rock in end number 10. So you're going to see a pretty clean style going into the 10th here, as MacDiarmid will try to set up some guards to get the offense going, while Arsenault will try to keep it clean and try to eliminate any possibility of a multiple. Just count down the rocks until you're a Scotties provincial champion for 2018.
Well, you're home for Nova Scotia Curling. Bell 5 TV1. The next event will be the seniors event in February. So,
and we'll look forward to bringing that to you on Bell TV1 from, I believe, the Amherst Curling Club. That will be an exciting event with some of the province's best. So now you're seeing a little bit of a style as we expect.
Corner guard, and this one being thrown through the house. Pretty well repeat of the last in how it started, so.
And it'll be pretty much counting down the rocks. Once the free guard zone is out of play, you'll start to see the guards start to be removed. And it's a challenging conclusion there for the Kristen MacDiarmid ring, who have had a phenomenal week, having gotten out to that 5-0 record, to drop 2 and then be able to get the win in the semifinal. She was expecting to put up a good performance here, and unfortunately, again, the little things coming back to cause this 8-5 scoreline.
So as you see, it's an empty house here, 10th in.
And looks like I just noticed there as they're starting the 10th in, we actually have on the television with the big broadcast, we're getting some updates from our event. So if any of them are tuning in, we welcome them into some of the updates for our action here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, if you just joined us, it's been pretty well Arsenault since the going. Blanks in number 1. Arsenault started off with 2 in the second. MacDiarmid 1 in the third, then 2 in the fourth for Arsenault, and 1 in the fifth for MacDiarmid. Arsenault with 1 in 6, and MacDiarmid 1 in 7, and Arsenault with a big 3 spot. Pretty well the difference maker in this one. MacDiarmid got 2 and 9, and no steals in this one.
So now pretty quickly here, MacDiarmid trying to set up some guards to get some offense going. If she's able to use those effectively, she could try to sit some more. Now that the free guard zone's out of play, you're going to see a lot of movement. First starting with that front guard, peeling that out, and hopefully if all goes well, they'll keep it going with those other stones as well.
And it's peel time here in the 10th. Black will work hard to get it to the side and out, and it just gets out with one little spin. Sure, she talked to it a little bit there in the last couple of turns to make sure it goes out. So pretty well, same game plan here. Keep putting up guards and hoping for a miss. Liz Woodworth.
Yeah, so setting up the high guard now, you'll probably see again Marianne will go to try to immediately take that one out.
And bullet thrown, and the rocks go bye-bye there in front of the house. So we're into third rocks here. 4 remaining here for this MacDiarmid team, and they have 1 guard, so they could probably put up 1 more and then have to make the other 3 count.
Yeah, you are going to see it. Well, now there are only 3 out of play, so there is a possibility that you could play a tick on that stone just outside the house to try to sit too, a deuce. But it's still going to be challenging. It appears like going this side, they're going to try to come around that or play it as tap. To me, it looks like a draw around with that ice.
Yeah. Coming around it pretty easily.
Question is, how far will it curl? It needs to be behind cover.
Arsenault pounce on it as soon as it comes past the tee line, and she was trying to sweep it out and goes deep behind the tee line. Ignored, so now they will concentrate on this yellow stone outside of the house. Christina Black asked to get rid of it. Make it go away. Kraus going hard. They could hear them. And they will get it, and they will push the blue, and it will go out.
Yes, Team MacDiarmid now can afford to probably have 1 more guard, and then they have to make everything count. Pretty much that, because they need at least a 3 here. And they only have 4 rocks available, including the one that is still in play.
Yeah. Marie Christensen.
So just trying to work that, get as far as they can to cover the stone at the back of the 8-foot, does so. And also it sits second shot, so good result. You will see Christina Black try to go to take this out. It's close enough that they could potentially get both moving depending on how they play it. They're probably just going, though, for the 1. Oh, it is coming out a little bit.
And they're going to go. Let's see what it does. And they'll just remove that yellow stone that they made a play on. The shooter goes out as well.
So now down the skip stones, and you need to make all of them count.
There we go, yep, so.
The crowd starts to settle down as there's a down to the final few rocks of this championship. Pretty much has to be at least top 12 to put some pressure on, but it will give Marianne Arsenault a hit. Okay, she's going to go the other side. Or is it light?
The front end is going hard on this.
Needs to be there.
They got to drag it. Drag it, girls, drag it. Is it going to come up short?
And there you go.
There's head shakes, so Marianne Arsenault will have a chance to go to the Scotties National Championship
and
for a 6th time.
We see Black and Arsenault running up to greet the rest of their team. Congratulations there.
Happy ladies they are. Jennifer Krause, Jennifer Baxter, Christina Black, Marianne Arsenault, their coach Peter Corcoran, their 5th Carol McLean out of the Dartmouth Curling Club, your 2018 Nova Scotia Scotties champions.
And that was an extremely well-played final from Marianne Arsenault, as I think I just saw Christina Black running to her daughter out there at ice level. They're very excited about that win.
The title that you see right there will be staying here. Carol McLean and Black sharing a moment.
And just what a great performance from this very experienced Marianne Arsenault team, who truly showed all week why they are champions many times over. And to win the title here with the pressure on, they were truly the best team all week and the most consistent team all week. And to go 7 in a row to win this event, it truly shows that they will be fitting representatives for the national championships, the Scotties Tournament of Hearts, at the South Okanagan Events Center in Penticton in a few weeks.
And you can see in the top of your screen, just below the scoreboard, family members that were ice side cheering on that team, as they will be representing Nova Scotia at the Scotties. So, and as you said, they started off with that first loss to Krista McDermott in draw number 1, and then after that they were just gangbusters and pretty well ran the table to win the championship. And you know, all of a sudden we were coming into this, you and I talked about it, there are of course the family members, a very happy Marianne Arsenault, and once again lots of smiles there just to finish the point. You know, ran the table, and we were kind of thinking maybe we would see like a Brothers McDermott final. Didn't materialize because they just got hot at the right time and were just fantastic, unstoppable, and when they got the lead, never gave it up and didn't give the teams chances to get back in.
And it truly showed that they were just a defensive style team that knew how to make the big shots when needed, and got the results that they needed in the end when they did have the hammer. Having multiples in 2, 4, and 8 were what made the big difference and what gives them the Scotties title.
So this will wrap up our coverage. And once again, we want to congratulate the championship winners, the Jamie Murphy out of the Halifax Curling Club and the Marianne Arsenault team here out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. They are your provincial champions, and Arsenault will represent Nova Scotia at the Scotties and Jamie Murphy at the Brier. Well, John, it's been fantastic working with you once again. We got to do this sometime in the future, so
I'm sure I'll definitely be back when we return here to Dartmouth next year, and I look forward to working with you and the rest of the crew from Bellline TV1 to bring championship curling to you, the viewers, here on stream.
Yeah, we were delighted to, of course, bring it to you, you know, and you know, what can you say? I really like Nova Scotia's chances. Of course, with the new formats there for the teams, that will be a fantastic weeks of curling when those actually take place.
It will, and the Team Arsenault showed that they can compete with the best and will truly be able to compete very competitively at the national level once they reach the Scotties. We'll see who they'll face. There's still a few championships left to be determined, but they'll be fitting representatives at the nationals in Penticton.
So once again, we'll sign off now for my broadcast colleague John Seidman and our producer Sean Senertal, and special thanks to also Chuck Calder. My name is Dan Hobson. Thank you for tuning in.